In this video, we are going to start with our next chapter, Indus Valley Civilization. The sequence of different periods or the ages are as follows. At the global level, the sequence went like Stone Age, Copper Age, and which is also known as Chalcolithic Age or a Metal Age, and then Bronze Age. At the Indian subcontinent level, it was like Stone Age, then the Bronze Age, which is also known as Indus Valley Civilization, and then the Chalcolithic Age. Now, let's begin. There are some theories regarding the origin of Indus Valley Civilization. One view says that it evolved out of the Mesopotamian civilization. The reasons being because it was little earlier than the Indus Valley Civilization. Then, both were aware of use of script. It means the Mesopotamian civilization also used script and Indus Valley civilization also used script. Then the third reason, both of them were aware of the use of bricks. Now, critics says that this Mesopotamia civilization, they although they used the script, but that script was cuneiform. And if we talk about the script of the Harappan civilization or the Indus Valley civilization, it was logosyllabic. And if we talk about the bricks, then Mesopotamian civilization used the sun-dried bricks. And if we talk about the Harappan civilization, they used the fire-baked bricks. So we can see that Indus Valley civilization was much more advanced than that of the Mesopotamian civilization. Means their script could not be deciphered and means the script still not deciphered. And they used the fire-baked bricks than the sun-dried bricks. Now, the next theory says that it evolved out of the gradual development of the Chalcolithic village culture. Now, people of this culture, actually, this Chalcolithic village culture was means they were completely dependent on the agriculture. They received good amount of rainfall, and they used the stone tools, they used the copper tools, etc. And they grew surplus agriculture, trade and commerce. But in the beginning, I have told you the phases. This is as per the global level. They think that at the global level, Chalcolithic period was before, which appeared before than that of the Bronze Age. But as per, but in the Indian subcontinent, it was the Bronze Age or the Harappan civilization which appeared well before the Chalcolithic culture. So this theory doesn't fit. Means it's not that much close to our explanation or to our discussion. Now moving to the Harappan civilization. This Harappa is in the western Punjab, in the western Punjab and in the Pakistan. Mohenjo-daro in the Sindh. It was earlier the largest Harappa site, but now it's the Rakhi Gadhi. Now we are going to discuss some important sites of this Harappan civilization, like Côte d'Ivoire. The question can come about this sites. You must be aware of this, like Côte d'Ivoire in Sindh, Kalibangan in Rajasthan, Ropar in Punjab, Solka Ko, Ganveriwala, Banawali, Haryana, Lothal, Surkotda, and Dholavira in Gujarat. Now I have made a box here because it was there in the PYQ that which of the sites are from the are Harappan sites or not, and Inamgaon was given. Now I would like to tell you that this Inamgaon is an early village site. It's a Chalcolithic site and it belongs to Jorve culture of the Chalcolithic period. It's not related to Harappan site. So this indicates that these sites Koddizi, Kalibangan, Ropar, Sulkako, Ganveriwala, Banavali, Lothal, Surkotda and Dholavira become very much important. Next, origin and evolution of this Harappan civilization. First is pre-Harappan, then early Harappan, mature and late Harappan. We are going to discuss sites of these various Harappan phases. The first is pre-Harappan phase. This pre-Harappan phase, the important sites of this pre-Harappan are eastern Baluchistan and Mehergarh. They had a settled agricultural life. Next, moving to the early Harappan phase. Early Harappan phase, the important sites are Amri and Côte d'Ivoire. So in the pre-Harappan, we had discussed Baluchistan and Mehergarh. In the early Harappan, Amri and Koddizi, they were the large villages in the plains. There was the growth of certain towns, means this Harappan period it starts developing. And one more thing I would like to tell you, like as we are moving from pre-Harappan to late Harappan, we are moving from the western part of this civilization to the eastern part of the civilization. Like you can see this, okay. Next is mature phase. They were the great cities. They had elaborate town planning, and the city sites like Kalibangan, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, etc. Then the later phase, or the phase of decline. The sites, one of the site is Lothal. This Lothal site in the Gujarat, it reveals this stage of evolution. Now, Lothal is important because it's the emporium of trade between the Harappa and the contemporary civilizations like Mesopotamia. Now, one important fact, like animal bones of cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, pig were found, then bones of wild species like boar, deer, gharial, bones of fish and fowl. So you can give a reading to this. Now, next, the features of the Harappan civilization. First of all, what do you mean by culture or civilization? Culture is basically the group of objects which are clubbed together at a single place and at a period of time. So you can call it a proper culture. Now, if we talk about the town planning, it has a proper grid system. Everyone knows this. Like it proper grid system was there, and the streets and the lanes they cut each other at right angles. Now the streets and the lanes cut in such a way that they divide the city into the rectangular blocks. Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Kalibangan, they had its own citadel of the mud brick, and below it there were the lower there were the brick houses, etc. Basically, in this Harappan culture, there was the use of burnt bricks. But the question can come like, were there the stone buildings? Then it will be incorrect because there were no stone buildings. There were only buildings, which were buildings or the houses which were made up of burnt bricks. Then there was the proper underground drainage system. Mm, and there was the great bath. Floor consisted of this burnt bricks, finely fitted bricks laid edge to edge with gypsum mortar, and over that layer there was the thick layer of bitumen to make it waterproof. And then there was also the granary to store the grain, and this granary is the largest building which is there in Mohenjo-daro. This whole town was divided into two parts, the left part and the right part. In the left, it was quite raised, it was the citadel, and in the right part, there was the residential buildings of the common people. In the left part, it was basically a raised part, there was citadel, there were important buildings like granary, great bath, etc. Now, moving to the economic life, they did agriculture, like they cultivated wheat, barley, sesame, mustard, cotton, lentil, chicken pea, and they cultivated millets in the Gujarat region. There was the great progress in all the spheres of economic activity. Like they excelled in agriculture, they excelled in industries. I mean, not the big industries, but whatever they like. There was the industry for cotton, so they used to wear cotton clothes. Then crafts and trade. There were artisans like goldsmiths, brick makers, stone cutters, weavers, boat builders, terracotta manufacturers. They were engaged in trade, both internal trade and foreign trade. They used to import gold, copper, tin from different contemporary civilizations or nearby countries like Afghanistan, Iran, etc. Then there were now what were the metals? So there was the alloy bronze, because this is known as bronzes, copper vessels, gold and silver ornaments. There were red and black painted pottery and plain pottery. There were beads. Then the animals which were domesticated: sheep, goats, buffalo. Now, in this, there were two type of pottery: plain pottery and red and black pottery. They exported agricultural products like wheat, barley, peas, and oil seeds. They also exported finished products. Finished products mean cotton goods, pottery, beads, terracotta figurines, ivory products. There were exchanges which are regulated by the precise system of weights. Weights were usually made up of chert, and means there were some categorization. You can read it here. If we talk about social life, they used to wear two pieces of cloth, upper garment, lower garment. Beads. They used to wear jewelries, bangles, bracelets, fillets, girdles, anklets, earrings, finger rings. These were worn by women. Now, the various jewelries, they were made up of gold, silver, copper, bronze, semi-precious stones. There was the use of cosmetics, toys also. This fishing, it was a regular phenomena. They used to do this on a daily basis. Hunting and bullfighting, these were the pastimes. Now we're going to discuss their weapons. They used axes, spearheads, daggers, bows, arrows, and these weapons were made up of copper and bronze because they were aware of both of these. Little pots of fans, spindle walls which were made up of fans. Then, if we talk about arts, in the arts they had a high degree of workmanship. One can found the dancing girl which is made up of bronze from Mohenjo-daro. Now, certain feature of this: right hand rests on hip while left covered with the bangles which hangs loosely in a relaxed posture. Relaxed posture. Then there were pottery, pots and jars with various designs and colors, which consisted these pottery, they were decorated with the geometrical patterns which had different pictorial motifs, uh, like plants, trees, fish, peacock, etc. Copper mirror. Then there was the craft production, or like bead making, shell cutting, metal working, seal making, weight making. At Chanudaro one can find copper hoard, means this has been discovered from the Daimabad. Now, there were various materials which were used for making beads, like carnelian, beautiful red color, jasper, crystal, quartz, statite stone. Now, one important thing: red torso of a man, it has been found from Mohenjo-daro. So you can learn different location like a dancing girl of bronze. This is found from Mohenjo-daro. Then this pots and pottery, these are found at all the locations. And this craft production was done at the Chanudaro. Copper hoard has been recovered from Daimabad. Red torso from Mohenjo-daro. Now we are going to discuss the next, the script. The script of Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization is quite unique. It has got number of signs, 400 or 600. Out of these, 40 or 60 are basic and the rest all are variants. These were written from right to left and they followed Bostrofidon method, like writing in the reverse direction in the alternative line. Now, there are different views regarding the script. Parpola and his Scandinavian colleagues came to the conclusion that whatever the script or the language they were using, or the language of the Harappans, they was basically Dravidian. Some other scholars says that it is related with the Brahmi script. But as we know, the script of the Harappan civilization is yet to be deciphered. Now, next moving to the religion, they worshipped real animal as well as mythical animal. The chief male deity was Pashupati, who is also known as Proto Shiva. Now we get to know about this from a seal which has been recovered by the John Marshall. Now this Pashupati or a Proto Shiva is sitting in the yogic posture with three faces and two horns, surrounded by four animals. These four animals are facing in different direction, and these four animals are elephant, tiger, rhino, buffalo. Rhino is also known as one horn, so you can remember. And there were two antelopes at the feet, two deer or two antelopes at the feet. Chief female deity was mother goddess, and we get to know about the that they were there had or there was the chief female deity from the various terracotta figurines. They used to do linga worship and phallus worship. They used to wear amulets, and from there we get to know that they believed in the ghosts and the evils. Next, burial methods. Now, there were different burial methods or different funerary practices which have been practiced by the civilization. There were the use of wooden coffins, the use of coffins which are made up of the bricks, pot burials, complete burials, etc. So, complete burial as well as post cremation burial. This this feature is from the Mohenjo-daro. Wooden coffins found in the location Harappa. Then in the Lothal, there was the burial pit, which was lined with the burnt bricks. Means this coffin was made up of burnt bricks. Then pot burials also. One point to be noted that there was no evidence of sati in the Harappan civilization. Now we are moving to the decline of this Harappan civilization, how it declined. This decline set in motion in by 2200 BC, and it ended by 2000 BC. By the year 1800 BC, most of the mature Harappan sites like Kalibangan, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro had been abandoned. Now, some reasons which have been cited, like natural calamities, floods, drying of rivers, earthquakes, decreasing fertility of the soil, etc. Some say that like it's because of the invasion by the Aryans, their destruction of the forts which have been mentioned in Rig Veda. So, destruction of forts by the Purandar, the Indra, which is mentioned in Rig Veda. And also, some of the human skeletons have been discovered at Mohenjo-daro, which indicate that it has been invaded by the Aryans. Next, we are going to discuss the Harappan seal. Harappan seal, this seal indicates that uh, there occurred the long distance communication with the Mesopotamian civilization, etc. This seal is made up of stone steatite, and it contains animal motifs and signs between 375 to 400 signs. Now, why this animal motifs were there? Because they're used for meant for those people who cannot read these signs, and the longest sign is of 26 signs. It conveyed the identity of the sender. Like when you purchase anything from a different country, it is written made in China or made in different countries, made in Japan, etc. So it gives the identity that this product is from the Indus Valley civilization or the Harappan civilization. Agricultural technologies which were there at Harappa. Now, terracotta models have been recovered from two places, Cholistan and Banawali, Haryana. There is the evidence of plowed field at Kalibangan in the Rajasthan. Now, the agricultural field, they had two set of furrows which were at right angle with each other, and this thing indicates that there was multiple cropping which was done in this Indus Valley civilization. Traces of canals found at Shortugai in Afghanistan. This canal indicates that there was irrigation, means agriculture was there, but such canals not found in the Punjab or Sindh. There were water reservoirs at Dholavira, Gujarat. Now we are going to discuss the next, saddle querns. These saddle querns used for grinding the cereals. These are made up of hard, gritty, igneous rock or a sandstone. Their bases are convex. These saddle querns were used for two purposes. Now, first is like the convex saddle quern over which there is another smaller stone which was pushed, rolled to and fro. This was basically for grain, used only for grain, and they were used as a pounder. pounder for grinding the herbs and spices for making the curries. Now, we are going to discuss the different materials which have been procured from different places, like shells. The first is shells. These shells have been recovered from Nageshwar and Balakot. Lapis lazuli, Shortugai, Afghanistan. Lapis lazuli is basically the blue stone, and it was at that time of high value. Then carnelian, which we had discussed, it has got beautiful red color. So this carnelian from the Lothal, lapis lazuli from the Shortugai, Afghanistan, Stitite stone found at South Rajasthan and north of Gujarat. Rajasthan may we have got different metal like basically the copper, etc. Then uh, it indicates that we obtained the copper from the Ganeshwar Jodhpura culture. We also imported copper from Oman, and Mesopotamian texts also indicate that we had contact with the regions like Dilmun, Magan, and sorry, Mesopotamian texts indicate that the Mesopotamian civilization had contact with the Dilmun, Magan, and Meluha. They called Meluha basically to the Harappa or Harappan civilization. Now, as we had discussed few minutes earlier, like one of the reason for the destruction of this or decline of this Indus Valley civilization was invasion by the Aryans. Now, why such theory was given? Because there were certain evidences of invasion. The first is Dead Man Lane. This Dead Man Lane is a narrow valley where these parts of the skull and the bones of thorax and the upper arm of an adult were discovered. Now, next is 16 skeletons of the people have been discovered at Mohenjo-daro in 1925. Also, M. Wheeler had tried to connect it with the Rig Veda, where in the Rig Veda there is a mention of the word Pur or Purandar, Indra god, which is the Aryan god, fort destroyer, considered as a fort destroyer. So, Pur was held responsible for the destruction or the decline of this Indus Valley civilization as per the Rig Veda. In the year 1960s, there was the evidence of massacre in Mohenjo-daro was questioned by an early archaeologist, George Dales. He demonstrated that the skeletons which were found at these sites, they actually did not belong to the same period, and also said that there was no destruction, no signs of extensive burning, no bodies of the warriors, etc. Now, how this Harappan civilization was discovered, we are going to discuss this. Cunningham's confusion, this is the first point. Cunningham was the first Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India. He started the excavation in the 19th century or in the mid of the 19th century. His interest was in the early archaeology of the different periods or historic periods, and he also referred the accounts which were left by the various Chinese travelers or the Buddhist pilgrims. Now he found the Harappan artifacts in the year 19th century, but he did not realize how old these were, and what because of that he missed the significance, the importance of this Harappan civilization. He did not put much focus on this Harappan civilization. Now, next was seals were discovered at Harappa by Dayaram Sahni and at Mohenjo-daro by Rakhaldas Banerjee, and they are basically considered as the founder of these Harappan and Mohenjo-daro civilization respectively. Now it was the John Marshall. He was also the Director General of the ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, who has announced the discovery of this new civilization or Harappan civilization. Now, John Marshall, he excavated basically along the regular horizontal units. He ignored the stratigraphy of the site. All the artifacts which he had recovered from the same site or a same unit, they were grouped together, even if they found at different stratigraphic layers. So stratigraphy is very much important to be taken into account, but he ignored them. He just uh, dug in a horizontal manner and he clubbed all the objects which are found at the same location together. But because of this, the valuable information was irretrievably lost. Now it was the Rem Wheeler or RM Wheeler, who was the Director General of Archaeological Survey of India in the year 1944. He has rectified this problem. He recognized that it is very much important to follow the stratigraphy of the soil or a stratigraphy of the mound rather than digging mechanically. He was the ex-army brigadier RM Wheeler, so he brought military precision to this practice of archaeology. So he rectified this problem. Now next, one pointer which I had written. Okay, who were actually, it's a PYQ. Uh, the question was about the shamans. Shamans are basically the men and women who claim that they had got magical or the healing powers, and they had the ability to communicate with the other world. Now some important points like Harappa, it is situated on the banks of Ravi River. Mohenjo-daro and Chanudaro, they are located on the banks of the river Indus. Kalibangan and Banavali, located along the banks of this Ghaggar Hakra River, and Lothal, Bhogwa River, Dholavira on the banks of river Luni. Now the northernmost site is Manda, southernmost site is Daimabad, westernmost is Sutka Jandor, and Alamgirpur easternmost. Now we are going to do this art and craft. Art and craft may first is ceramics. Ceramics are those objects or those artifacts which are made by heating the clay. For example, bricks, terracotta figurines. So this is basically ceramics. One pottery we had discussed. Pottery was plain as well as red and black pottery. So these were wheel made. They were very proper, very fine, which were with bright red decorated with painted black designs. Like this red color indicate iron oxide, and they had this pottery was painted with the black designs, which is made up of manganese. This is known as what? Black and red ware or black and red pottery. Gems and jewelry, I had already told multiple times, like gold was there, silver was there, copper, etc. So these gold and silver jewelry were basically used to make necklaces, pendants, bracelets, etc. These have been recovered from the Harappan sites. Also, hoard of jewelry of gold, silver, and semi-precious stones have been recovered from Aladino. So this is very much important. Like hoards of jewelry have been recovered from a site which is known as Aladino. There was the process of bead making. It was done because the men and women, they used to wear these beads. Now some facts about the seals. That seals were made up of statite stone, and they were square in various shapes like square, rectangular, cylindrical. Average size was 2.5 centimeter, but the largest one is of 6.3 centimeter. Now we had discussed that there were different animals which have been depicted on the seals, but there was no uh, animals like which I'm going to discuss now, like cow, camel, horse, lion. These were not depicted on the seals. So you can note only these animals like cow, camel, horse, lion. These were not depicted on the seals. Bull, which was a unicorn, it was the most commonly represented on the seals. You can call it as rhino. Now some pointers. Egypt civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, they were the contemporary to Harappan civilization, and we traded with these civilizations. The Greek civilization emerged much later, so this is not contemporary to the Harappan civilization, and the Greek civilization came into existence after the decline of the Harappan civilization. Now evidence of bead makers shop have been found evidence of bead makers shops have been found at Chanudaro and Lothal. So we are done with this Indus Valley civilization. Our next lecture will be on the Vedic culture or a Vedic period. If you find this video helpful, do like this video and subscribe to get notified as soon as the video comes up. Thank you.